The secret to making car engines more reliable isn't really a secret. All you have to do is carry out the periodic maintenance the car needs and the engines will last a lifetime. That's if the engine was well built. Unfortunately, there are cars out there that were unlucky enough to get some of the worst engines ever made, and that is exactly what today's video is about. We are counting down the worst engines ever put on a car. Make sure you stick around till the end to see if your car engine made the list. Just before we start, I want to make sure you don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never miss an update. Now put on some gloves, grab your wrench, and let's take a look at these engines. The first engine on this list couldn't be from any other manufacturer than the infamous BMW. This car manufacturer is renowned for the unreliability of their engines. They have been subjected to jokes and memes about their unreliability for as long as the car scene has been around. Unfortunately for BMW, their N63 V8 engine didn't break the stigma. It reinforced it even more. This engine came fitted on the BMW 5, 6, and 7 series along with the X5 and X6 from 2008 to 2012. The source of the problem was the two turbochargers that sit right between the cylinder rows. This choice of design unfortunately produced excessive amounts of heat, which in classic BMW fashion was not managed correctly. In addition to the big problem the engine already had, the water cooling system was known to fail regularly. This made the perfect combination for overheated cylinder heads. You could say goodbye to the variable valve control and the camshafts, but wait, the problems don't stop there. The N63 V8 was also known for stretching timing chains and leaking injectors. This would cause severe damage to the cylinders, as drops of petrol could wash the oil from the cylinder walls, leading to compression losses. BMW revised the engine in 2012, so most of the problems are gone. But between you and me, this might not be the last time you see BMW on this list. At number 7, let's talk about the Alfa Romeo 2.0-liter twin-spark 16-volts engine. As we know, Alfa is known for making cars with personality, but this engine proved that sometimes this Italian flair comes with a price. Literally, these engines are to be treated gently, especially in the cold. Don't warm them up properly and the engine may break down following quick acceleration. Just make sure you're never in a hurry. But this isn't even the biggest issue. The timing belt takes this spot. Alfa Romeo recommended the timing belt be changed every 56,000 kilometers, much sooner than most other engines. You may think that squeezing a bit more kilometers from that timing belt isn't going to cause a big problem. Well, that would be your biggest mistake yet. If you ignored that advice, you could end up with a complete engine failure. If the belt snapped, it would cause the pistons to smash into the valves, resulting in a big headache and an even bigger bill. And the icing on the cake was the prominent oil leaks, along with the valve timing device wearing too soon. This all led to a rough, idle, and poor performance from the twin spark. Unfortunately for the Alfa Romeo fanboys, this engine came equipped with a lot of cars, and I mean a lot. From 1995 to 2010 models fitted with this engine were the Alfa Romeo 145, the 146, the 147, the 155, the 156, the 166, the Alfa Romeo GTV, the Alfa Romeo Spider, and the Alfa Romeo GT. You are honestly better off buying a different car altogether, just not the next one. BMW isn't the only German car manufacturer to have poorly built engines. Volkswagen also had their slip-ups, while VW has a boatload of cars equipped with the 1.2-liter TSI petrol engines. You might want to avoid them due to timing chain issues. While these engines are still in use today, it was mostly between the 2011 and 2015 models where the issues began. The timing chain is supposed to last the lifetime of the engine. Well, for the 1.2 TSI, it didn't. Between 32,000 to 64,000 kilometers timing chain tensioner failure occurred. In some cases, the chain would snap, causing the engine to shut down completely. Not to mention that the engines were known to consume oil as fast as gasoline, having to top off the oil every couple of weeks. Luckily, Volkswagen has a wide range of engines to choose from, so it won't be hard to find a replacement. At number 5, we have a legend of the automotive world. This engine is known in the car community for its weird shape and the reliability issues it comes with. The notorious 1.3-liter Renesas rotary engine on the RX-8. The design of the engine was certainly innovative. Having fewer moving parts, these motors were supposed to be much more efficient. However, the reliability was non-existent. The RX-8 was the last of the production models to feature this engine. While rotary engines are known to use oil by design, the Renesas took it to a whole other level. Many owners reported having to top off their oil every 1,600 kilometers. On top of this, the apex seals would wear out. Might not seem like much, but keep in mind that these are critical for the engine's performance. This problem would lead to loss of compression, poor performance, and eventually engine failure. And changing them isn't exactly cheap. So if you actually like driving your car and not keeping it in the repair shop, you might want to skip the RX-8. Remember when I said BMW might be featured on the list again? Well, here it is. The 2-liter N47 diesel. Rattling from a diesel engine, while not ideal, doesn't necessarily lead to catastrophic failures. However, this is not the case for the M47. These engines are particularly loud due to their timing chain wear and inevitable failure. Timing chains are essential to keep the engine's moving parts in sync, and when the chain goes, you might as well throw the car away. But you might be saying to yourself, why not just change the chain? Well, in classic German engineering fashion, the chain was located very conveniently at the back of the engine block, and the only way to change it was to rip the whole engine out of the car. What should be a routine fix turns into an expensive and time-consuming repair. Just like in every aspect of life, there is a lesson to be learned. If you ever go for a BMW, make sure the N47 diesel doesn't power it. Volkswagen has been manufacturing reliable and economical 1.4-liter and 1.6-liter petrol engines for a really long time. You could even install GPL to further reduce the cost of fuel. But you decided to buy something bigger, more powerful. You didn't have the money to buy a 3-liter, so you opted for a 2-liter TFSI. And that day, your hate for Volkswagen began. The engine was praised for its performance, however, underneath all that power, there were some serious issues. One of which was the excessive oil consumption once again. The TFSI would drink up to 1 liter every 1,600 kilometers due to faulty piston rings. And obviously the party wouldn't be complete without the infamous timing chain issue. You already know the deal. The chain could stretch or fail, leading to engine damage or complete failure. Improvements to the engine were made after 2012, reducing the issues, but anything below 2012 was a no-go. The truth is that Toyota makes some of the most reliable cars in the car market, so it might surprise you to see one of their engines on this list, but the 1.8-liter VVT-i from the early 2000s was one of the few undesirable engines designed by the titan of reliability. This engine was known for the buildup of sludge. This thick substance would clog the engine's oil passage and could lead to complete failure. Of course, this wasn't the only problem. The biggest issue by far was the oil consumption once again. The car would burn through 1 liter of oil every 800 kilometers. If you didn't closely monitor those oil levels, you risked engine damage. So if you want to buy a car with a 1.8 VVT-ii engine, you might also want to buy a 1-year supply of engine oil. And the number 1 spot, unfortunately for the Germans watching, goes to the 1.4 and 1.6 liter FSI engines from Volkswagen. I know we said earlier that they made reliable 1.4 and 1.6 liter engines, and that's true, just not the engines made between 2001 and 2008. These engines were supposed to be more advanced and efficient, being able to power multiple types of vehicles. While that was true, all this power came with a cost. Can you guess what it is? Exactly. Reliability. The intake systems and valves would be covered in carbon deposits, leading to misfires, rough idle, and overall poor performance. On top of that, these engines, just like the other German engines, were particularly known for timing belt failures. As mentioned before, these aren't cheap repairs. All of this made the 1.4 and 1.6 FSI engines a risky choice when looking for a long-term reliable car. So there you have it, folks, 8 of the most unreliable engines ever produced. If you are looking for a second-hand car, you might just want to keep this list in mind when choosing one. Did we miss any engines that should have made the list? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.